why I don't watch television and why I stopped watching television and why you should too. So this is a very personal topic for me, guys, because one thing I can't stand is modern day TV. As a matter of fact, whenever I meet a girl and she tells me that she watches TV, usually in the form of sending me a link to her favorite Netflix show. Oh my God, don't even get me started on Netflix. Netflix is the worst, by the way. But whenever a chick sends me like, the new show she's watching or the new series she's into, I immediately lose respect for her. I'm like, really? Really? And I don't even have to look up the show she's watching. I already know it's loaded with propaganda, perversion, sexual degeneracy, drugs, alcohol. I mean, you name it. Everything on television is just morally bankrupt these days. I can't even stand it, right? I just can't watch it. I'm so sick of it. It's just pure propaganda. I can understand like one or two stories where, somebody has an alcoholic problem, drug problem. I get it. One person's gay. I get it. But like all of them? Seriously? All of them? I mean, really? I mean, literally every show that any of these chicks have sent me has some element of degeneracy in it, right? Whether, again, it's some sort of, like alcohol problem, drug problem, or perversion, even pedophilia, incest. I mean, just the themes that these writers write about just speaks volumes about what's in their minds, right? Because obviously somebody's writing this, right? Somebody's producing this. You got to ask yourself, like, what's going through this person's mind? I was never really into like horror films, by the way, like growing up. I know we had like Friday the 13th and all that, Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street, for you guys who are too young to know what I'm talking about. And then we had like Exorcist and other movies like that. I mean, and then the movies started becoming more and more gory and gorier and creepy. And I mean, a lot of movies aren't even horrors. They have these elements of just repulsive graphic images that they want to show you, the viewer. Yeah, man, you scared? You scared? I don't watch any of the movies, by the way. You know how I feel about movies, especially. I don't watch any of that. But when I hear about these movies and I see some of the clips or the trailers that pop up on YouTube, I always ask myself, like, who wrote this? What's going on in your life that you would write something like this? What are these thoughts in your head that would make you create something like this? You have to wonder. When it comes to TV, I mean, in my opinion, TV is often worse than movies these days, especially Netflix, now that we're talking about Netflix, because it seems like everything on there is loaded with propaganda. I have not seen like anything on there that doesn't have propaganda. And I feel like society is shifting towards, especially the entertainment industry is shifting towards just further degeneracy. I mean, that's just really the best way to phrase it, because like even the Cobra Kai series, right, which a lot of people liked. I mean, I enjoyed it to a certain degree until it became unwatchable and unbelievable, and it was piss poor karate. I took martial arts growing up, so I can tell when somebody has never trained before and somebody throws a garbage kick. I mean, even the first one, the first Cobra Kai, that wasn't too bad. The story was interesting. The guy who won the tournament was named Miguel. That was like the worst karate ever. But as a 53-year-old man, I could easily like demolish that guy in a tournament, But yeah, because the karate was horrible. It's fine though if the story is okay. The story is okay, but even the Cobra Kai series, the reason why it became unwatchable to me was because of all the unnecessary profanity, the sexual innuendos. I mean, these things were not there in the original Karate Kid, and I get it was a different time. However, at what point do we go, enough is enough? At what point do we go, okay, this is just too much, going a little too far? Can we dial it back a bit? Can we just stop like pushing these terrible, like degenerate values onto society and especially kids? Can we just knock it off? At least one or two movies a year, like something wholesome and something for the family without a constant like GD in it. I mean, oh, that's another thing. Every single movie. I mean, even back in the 80s, 90s, you'll notice it. Like almost every single movie blasphemes, like gives God the finger or gives God, the fist. Every single movie. right? Literally is like shaking their fist at God by blaspheming, right? Which is saying, God D. I'm not going to say it. It's almost like an instant ticket to hell. I mean, like, why would you say something like that? Especially in movie. And there are movies where it literally makes no sense at all for the character to say that, and then they just blurt it out. I get it, Hollywood. I get the message. You hate God. You hate Christianity, or you hate believers. You hate religion. Every single movie, without fail. I mean, even movies where I think, oh, we're going to get through this movie without somebody blaspheming. Nope, somebody has to say it. Usually at a friend's house, they'll put on a movie. I don't pay attention. And they're always careful, too, because they know how I am. They're like, uh-oh, Matt, you better go in the kitchen for right now, because I don't think you're going to like this, what they're about to, they're about to start, like, cursing it out and all this and blah, blah, blah. And they're going to drop the blasphemy right now. I'm like, yep, without fail. But regardless, the other day, there was a movie playing, and literally, like, me and my friends, like, they were all on their seats thinking they were gonna be able to throw this back in my face, that you can't get through a single movie without them blaspheming. And they were getting to the end of the movie, and they were like, oh, we're home free. And then before the movie is over, one of the characters just randomly knocks over a lamp. Had nothing to do with the story. Knocks over a lamp. God, and blah, blah. I was like, aha, there it is. There it is. There it is. There you go. They did it, right? Hollywood cannot produce a movie without going, God, and say it. I'm not going to say it, right? Because I'm a Catholic. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to, shake my fist at my father, especially when they could destroy me like that, and send me eternally somewhere I don't want to go. But it's nuts to me how every single movie has that. Maybe some like family movies, maybe. But even those family movies where they don't happen to blaspheme are going to inject themes in there that are sexual in nature and just, unnecessary. I mean, like Cobra Kai, right? Cobra Kai, who's that aimed towards? It's aimed towards kids. I know a lot of my nephews and nieces got into that. They were watching, and I'm like, I know what they're doing. All right, they're aiming this towards kids. So if you know that a lot of kids are going to watch this, shouldn't you make it about what they're going to learn, the lessons they're going to learn from this, the morals they're going to gain from sitting there for 2 hours and watching this movie? Shouldn't that be what the story's about? To me, it was just so profanity laced. They started getting worse and worse. But in the very first series, where Johnny like goes on a billboard and draws like a penis, like draws a dick on this billboard. It's like, okay, why is that necessary? And then one of the characters says to Ralph Macchio's daughter, like the Asian guy, he was like, oh yeah, she went down on me in the movie theater, and she saw less of the movie than I mean, why are you making these sexual innuendos? Kids are watching this. They're going to think that's cool. It just sickens me because adults produce this stuff. And I feel like as an adult, you have to have a responsibility for what kids are going to grow up watching. I've seen this for myself where, like, these kids, if they grow up with these seeds planted in their head, when they become adults, they're going to become rotten freaking adults. I just watched this debate. You probably saw it. It was like Patrick bet David, one capitalist versus 20 socialists. And like all 20 of these socialists were just living in la la land. They were like, why should I have to work? Why do we live in this capitalist system where if I don't have a job, I'll starve? Why do I have to have money to buy food? Food should be free. Everything should be free. Oh, I shouldn't have to work. How come I have to work to have an apartment? Oh, my apartment should be free. It should be in a nice neighborhood. Why do I have to pay for a car? I mean, it was like ludicrous. This is the stuff you ask yourself when you're like 3 years old. Like, why do I have to have money? Right? Not when you're 33, which many of these people were like in their 30s. And I know this because I was old enough to remember these kids being brainwashed back in the early 90s. When these teachers, there was an elementary school very close to where my parents lived. I can hear the teachers from there telling the kids, like, literally, you're special, you're special, you're all special, no matter what anyone tells you, you're special. I felt like going there and like wringing that teacher's neck and grabbing that microphone going, sorry kids, I hate to break to you, no, you're not special. That's not how life works. Don't listen to this liberal goon. Let me tell you how life works, guys. You have to bust your ass. It's a dog-eat-dog world. It's a rat race. And you know what? Either sink or swim. And, You know, you don't have to make millions, but you know what? You have to create some value in the world. And you know what? You're not going to be special unless you do something that makes you special. Unless you invent something, create something, save a bunch of people. Unless you do something that makes you special, have a special talent, take advantage of it, and you actually add value to the world, that's when you'll become special. But if you're just Joe Schmo and you're just working your regular job and coming home and getting your meal and going home, you're not going to be special, but you know what? That's okay. You'll live a great life, right? You'll have a job. You'll have a roof over your head. That's okay. Not everyone can be special, but that's okay. But if you want to strive to be special, you should. And all of you should be striving to be special. Strive to be the best as you can at whatever you want to do in life. You strive to be the best person you can, the best version of yourself, yada, 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 yada. That's what I would tell them. I would not just be like, you're special no matter what. No matter what anybody says, you are special. That's what she was feeding these little kids who didn't know any better. And that's why now you have people like the ones on that podcast, 20 socialists versus 1 capitalist, and they're talking about, why should I have to work? Why do I have to have a job in capitalism? I want socialism. And it's like, as with every socialist, it drives me nuts. I'm like, why don't you just go to a socialist country and, you know, live in your utopia? Why are you here? I'm a hardcore free market capitalist. I love the free markets, right? I love the inequality. I love the imbalance in our society because it gives people like myself who came from nothing an opportunity to thrive, you know, and then people who bitch and cry like the ones on that show, many of them who look very privileged, and I guarantee almost every single one of them look like they grew up with a whole lot more money than I did, came from, you know, wealthy neighborhoods or rich neighborhoods or upper middle class neighborhoods, because it's mostly like upper class, like liberals crying about this stuff. It used to be just upper class, like elitist white people. Now it's like elitist, like there was an elitist black person on it, like black chick on there who was going to USC, attractive girl, definitely has pretty privilege, model looking, and she's crying about like having to work. I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Who are you trying to kid here? I'm a PUA. I know what you're about. I teach red pill stuff. I know you get stuff for free. Get out of here, right? But it would be like me as a capitalist going to some socialist country and go, I want capitalism. What's going on? I want to build my business. And, you know, crying about this in North Korea. They'd be like, why don't you just go to America if you want to be a capitalist? And I'd be like, oh, yeah, you're right. Anyway, I'm getting way off topic, but the topic is here. When it comes to TV, it is just not only a gigantic waste of time, waste of your time, and it's loaded with propaganda, but it's planting all sorts of seeds in your mind. Even if you're not a child anymore, it plants all sorts of seeds in your mind. That's how the devil gets to you, right? He plants thoughts in your mind, seeds, little seeds. You know, a lot of you think you're just watching this TV show and ha, 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 this guy is like a tranny and yeah, that's not a big deal. I'm not trans. It starts to enter your mind, right? These things start to enter your brain. A lot of it is very sick. Right. There was one where I saw that had millions of views on like Facebook or something. It was just like a short clip of, it was entitled like The Devil Goes to Prison. And he was like, I guess it was actually Satan in prison. And they were trying to mess with him. And he was saying, oh, I'm going to shove this dildo up your butt and blah, blah, blah. And you're going to be taking it out of your mouth. I mean, just things like that, which I'm sure the devil's capable of. But why do we need to see this? Why do we need to watch this? Why is this on TV? Why is it on Facebook? You do realize there are kids on Facebook and they're watching this. Is that okay with you? You know, is that okay for children to watch this stuff? But that's what Hollywood is about. That's what the Matrix is about. It's the more that they can turn society upside down and just make society just completely morally bankrupt, where you have no morals. You notice how they always try to blur the lines between right and wrong? They don't want order. They want chaos. Right? They want people to become mentally ill. They want people to become sick. And so much so they advocate for that. You know, Hollywood and lefties, they constantly advocate for people who have mental illness to just be free. Do you ever see like crazy people just walking around on the street go, ha ha, 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 like screaming or talking really loud or being just obnoxious on the street? Like, you never used to see this, right? I mean, even just like 20 years ago, definitely never saw this. Now you see this constantly in your neighborhood or in your town or your community. Why? Because we shut down mental asylums. You could blame Reagan for that, right? You can also blame him for all the amnesty he gave to illegal immigrants. We shut down mental asylums, which I'm a fan of opening back up. I wouldn't mind my tax dollars going to that. And now we have to deal with these people because I guess Reagan thought it'd be, oh yeah, they should be with their families, not locked in institutions with doctors. So no, they should be in institutions with doctors because they didn't go to their families. There's a reason their families booted them out because they're nuts, right? And they didn't want to get help. So now they're on the street and now we, me and you, have to deal with them, right? Where does this all come from though? It all comes from, guess where? Television, right? Because television spreads so much degenerate behavior and trying to pass it off as normal. It's just sickening to me. It's crazy to me how blind people are. Even people who consider themselves red pill and still watch TV or still go watch Star Wars, right? I have not seen any of the new Star Wars movies since, what was that, Revenge of the Sith. That was the last Star Wars movie that I watched. And then once Disney took over, I already knew what was going to happen. And then when they put that chick as a female lead as a Jedi, and she didn't even have to earn her powers, which kind of is realistic, right? Because let's be honest here, feminists think you know, as a woman, you should just get things without having to put any work for it. That's why we parachute them into these CEO jobs and whatnot. Once Disney took over, I'm like, I ain't watching this crap, man. I have no interest in it whatsoever. I know they're going to push propaganda, agendas, multiculturalism, and all that stuff. And they did. They did make one of the characters gay. I knew they were going to do that. I was like, at least they're not getting my dollars. I can afford to go. I don't want to go. I don't even want to watch it for free. I've seen it pop up for free a number of times on YouTube. I don't watch it. I don't watch it. I don't watch the clips. I'm not interested. And so, yeah, even the TV shows, like sometimes like guys who are red pill say they're red pill, send me like, oh, do you see this show? I'm like, why are you watching that, dude? Yeah, that thing's loaded with blue pill, Matrix style, junk. Why would you want to watch something like that? It's fine. It's funny. Yeah, of course. Everything's funny. That's how they get these themes through. They always disguise everything as jokes. That's what Hollywood does. They'll joke about pedophilia, incest, homosexuality, all these things, right? Straight guy becoming gay. They'll do it. Oh, it's all funny. It's funny, man. It's funny. Yeah. That's how they get you. All right. I'm not fooled, man. I ain't fooled. I don't buy into it. All right. And Hollywood's like right over the hills from where I live, in Sherman Oaks, Studio City. Hollywood's right there. I go there all the time. I go to Saddle Ranch. I still do games, still do pickup. But I know the evil spots there where the celebs go, like that Magic Castle. I know what they do. Right? I hear the stories. It's pretty disgusting. I've heard the stories about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett and stuff that they were into. And if you look at those people in Hollywood and their morals, what morals, right? They don't have any. I just saw this interview with Charlize Theron. She was on that Call Your Daddy podcast, another platform that is definitely infused with a lot of people who are either demons or demon possessed. Why would you create a podcast called Call Her Daddy? Obviously, there's sexual undertones to that title, right? But that's Hollywood for you. That's celebrity culture. I know that's a YouTube podcast, but that's a lot of these Hollywood celebs go on there, like Charlize Theron. She was just on there recently, right? Kamala was going to go on there, right? Because they're all a bunch of degenerates, right? They're all a bunch of, again, either demons or demon possessed, pushing a very anti-family, very Marxist, anti-good, anti-righteous value, right? So Charlize Theron goes on there. Who was talking about this? It might have been Megyn Kelly or Michael Knowles, but I saw it. Or no, it was Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan. Let's talk about this. And he's kind of a liberal himself, or he was. He was going, it was actually, I know Charlize, it's actually repulsive behavior, because she was on there going, oh my gosh, on the Call Your Daddy podcast. She was, I just effed a 26-year-old. It was amazing. And then the podcast host, she's like, oh my God, and then she blasphemes. Of course, right? All the demons need to blaspheme because they hate God. And she's sitting there bragging about how she effed this 26-year-old and how she's proud she's a single mom. I mean, the most destructive people on the planet, single mothers. Even though she has money, those kids are going to grow up like wacko. Kind of like Will Smith's kids. And he has both parents. Those kids have both parents. Sort of, not anymore. But regardless, Charlize Theron's on there bragging about this. And it's like, are you thinking about your kids at all? Do you realize they're going to watch this? Their friends in school are going to watch this and be like, your mom is a whore. Your mom is on this podcast bragging about banging like guys half her age. That's disgusting. She said it just like nobody's business. I mean, why are you even talking about that, right? I mean, that would be like me, and I'm a pickup artist. I probably had a lot more experience than Charlize Theron, but she might catch up pretty soon. Been with a lot of women, you know, much of which I regret now that I'm getting closer to my faith. I regret a lot of it. Yeah, it was interesting, but I regret a lot of it. However, the last thing I'm going to do, and I have a pickup and dating channel, is going to do a video or going on somebody's podcast bragging about sex with any of those girls, right? I'm not going to piss on any of them or lift any of them up and talk about them like graphically in front of everybody, because they've moved on. I've moved on. You know, they might have kids now, or I don't know, right? Or they have families. I don't want them embarrassed. Oh yeah, you dated the pickup artist? He got you, didn't he? You know, I don't want that, right? I just keep it to myself. And I treated all those girls very well, so I don't feel bad. Even my ex from 2006, who I can easily slam, right? I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of positive things to say about her, you know, as far as that goes, but I don't, right? I don't, right? Just keep it classy, you know, have some character, as Mike Tyson's trainer Cus D'Amato used to say. The most important thing you need is in life is character. And at that time, you notice Mike, when he would like win fights and stuff, he would go shake the opponent's hand, and a lot of class, a lot of character. Once Cus D'Amato died, he lost him, like started going downhill, right? His values and stuff. When it comes to these Hollywood celebrities, especially Charlize Theron, I mean, does this look like a woman of class? She goes to these red carpet events, dresses in those like, you know, $10,000 gowns, and has her hair all done, looks like, you know, like walking down that red carpet as if she's this glamorous Hollywood icon, but really she's just trash at the end of the day. She's just damaged goods. I mean, I'm not even trying to judge her. I mean, she's like literally judging herself. She's putting her business out in public for everyone to hear. But that's Hollywood for you, right? I love Mad Max. Never watched that movie with her in it. I knew it was going to be loaded with propaganda, and guess what? It was. I don't want to watch this stuff anymore. It shocks me when I hear guys still watching TV in 2025. You're basically sticking yourself in a brainwashing chamber. You know how you go to the sauna at the gym, you close the door and you get that heat? You're locking yourself in this movie theater, and you're just downloading all of these demonic seeds into your brain. And when you watch television, it's almost like the seeds of Satan are like streaming into your brain. Right? That's why I don't want to watch this stuff. It doesn't interest me at all. The girls that I've dated, I mean, yeah, again, like most of these broads can't think for themselves, so they do watch TV. They get me pretty fast, like my friends do, where they're like, oh, shoot, Matt's coming over tonight, so we got to pick the movie selection. It's got to be before the year 2000. He's not going to want anything after year 2000. And there are times where I'm like, don't make amends for me. Watch what you want. I'm just not going to come tonight, you know? My buddy, Logan, who has a big house, and he has like theater style TV, and you know, it's fun to watch movies there. Like when it's movies I remember from the 80s and 90s, I like watching older movies, or even from the 70s, 60s, 50s. I recommend some, like James Dean, Rebel Without a Cause, and you know, things like that. I mean, even that had a little bit of, you know, degeneracy in it, right? He's fighting back against his parents, but that's normal kid stuff. TV these days is just a wasteland. It's just a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Besides everything else, it's a waste of time, waste of your energies. You don't gain anything from it, right? I'd rather be out working on my business. I don't want to watch TV. If I'm not doing that, I'd rather just go for a walk, right? I'd rather go drive my car. There are so many other things I'd rather do than sit there and watch something that is trying to, you know, lecture to me or feed me their values and then shame me for not having their values, right? They're always pushing some sort of like lecture, where movies didn't have that before. Now you watch a movie, you're going to get lectured for 2 hours on LGBTQ or the climate crisis, climate change, or why the right is evil, or why Christians are evil. I'm not watching that, man. Yeah, it shocks me all these Christians still watch television. It just blows my mind. You know, especially the ones lately who've been jumping on board with Taylor Swift getting married to Travis Kelce. I'm like, are you nuts? This chick's DG. You know, she's just came from like 12 failed relationships. What makes you think she's marriage material and she's gonna last, you know, forever? That's why I don't watch TV. It's just not something I want to do these days. And the shows that I used to enjoy growing up, they would never make today. I mean, one of my favorite shows that I remember that I last like watched, well, yeah, really, was probably Growing Pains. That was probably one of my favorite shows. Probably one of the last shows that featured a mom, a dad, brothers and sisters, because that's the kind of house I grew up in. It wasn't broken. Like Jason Seaver, that was his name, right? The family's name, Growing Pains, the Seavers. It was just something you could relate to as a kid, right? As a teenager. It's like Mike was cheating on tests in high school. I tried to do that too. He would get detention, just things like that, man. First crush, first time moving out of your parents' house. I mean, these things, yeah, these are cool. They're relatable. And I enjoyed watching that as a teenager because I was the same age as these kids on the Growing Pains. However, today, I can't even imagine, like, even at that age, if you're starting to explore sexually more, I would not have wanted to see the things that are on TV today. I don't want to hear like dick jokes, vagina jokes, sex jokes, incest jokes, pedophilia jokes. I don't want to hear that stuff. If I was a teenager hearing this on modern day TV shows, I would be like, what is going on, man? Adults are whacked. I would stop listening to them. They would lose all credibility, in my opinion. So yeah, it's pretty sickening. I don't know why people even bother watching TV anymore. And usually people who watch lots of TV and are into that Hollywood culture, I see it in their values, right? They have none. They're usually just lost in life. But regardless, guys, that's all I have to say for today's coaching video about TV. That's why I don't watch it. Yeah, it's not interesting to me anymore. I'm tired of them pushing like the single motherhood and anti-family values and gays like adopting kids and just stuff like that. I'm just tired of seeing stuff like that. It just makes me sick. All the repulsiveness and the graphicness. It really makes you wonder about the people who are behind this stuff, right? Like I said, I question the writers who write a lot of these horror films. Like, what's going through your mind, man? You all right? Hollywood as a whole, I just question that entire industry and the people in it. It's no surprise the kids that get involved in that industry like end up committing suicide, or they become drug addicts, or they become strung out. I mean, there's so many stories I've heard, and it's so crazy because it's right over the hill from, like Studio City and everything. Studio City is almost like a different world compared to Hollywood, and there are, celebrities who live in my neighborhood. I mean, but they're not like that. Like the dog whisperer guy lives in my neighborhood, Cesar Milan. Who else lives there? I know, what was her name? I had a crush on this chick too before I realized she was crazy. Chloe Moretz also lived in the Valley. Britney Spears lived in the Valley, and then she moved to Calabasas. Who else lived out there? I recognized a few people from Beverly Hills 90210, Go to My Starbucks. I kind of got into one of the cast members from Beverly Hills 90210 over parking because she was like asking me to move my car up, and I was like, dude, there's like that much space before the red. I'm like, why are you trying to park right there? I'm like, that's illegal. So yeah, I got into it with her a little bit, but she was on Beverly Hills 90210. I recognized her immediately. Who else lived out there that I ran? Oh, Jay Leno. I've seen Jay Leno. He goes to my grocery store, the same Ralph's that I go to. He's really, really friendly. I was talking to him about his car, one of his last cars. He was out in the parking lot. He had his McLaren. It was actually on one of my birthdays I had a few years ago, and I had a conversation with him out there. Really nice guy, Jay. And who else? Yeah, and he hates DeLorean. So I'm like, yeah, dude. Hey, Jay, I just bought this new DeLorean, man. This, it's got super low miles. Oh, yeah, good for you. I didn't tell him about my Lambo. I haven't seen him in a while, but yeah, he has a Countach too, like an 86 Countach he's had since. But I never see him drive it. I would love to see him drive that car. But regardless, yeah, TV is, to me, it's just lost its marbles. Sun's coming down on us. So I'm going to wrap up here, guys. As always, this is M from AlphaMaleSecrets signing out. Let me know your thoughts on tonight's coaching video. I know it's a little long, but I had a lot to say about this topic. So you know how passionate I feel about how evil television and movies are these days. But drop your comments below. Remember to smash the like button and subscribe button on your way out. And if you got value out of tonight's coaching video and you want to dive deeper into the rabbit hole of the red pill and the matrix, and you want to level up and become stronger mentally, physically, financially, spiritually, I will help you do that in my premium Alpha Male Secrets program. Right now it's only $1 for the entire first month of premium Alpha Male Secrets content from me. So take advantage of it. It's going to help you become a better man, stronger man, wiser man, and tougher man. Right? And it's the best way to support my work. So just click that link below. It will take you over to my website where you get signed up right now. Just takes 2 seconds, so do that now. And I'll see you in the next one.